Okay, so we're finally here. Inter Milan is going to be facing FC Barcelona. This is going to be the second leg, and FC Barcelona will be facing Inter Milan away from home, which is a big deal because to go to a team like Inter Milan and to face their fans as well, it's going to be something very difficult because it is something that, you know, we're just gonna have to go through and fight because the fans do get you very immersed. The players are gonna be playing with all of their heart. We know how Inter Milan are gonna be approaching us, and it is 3-3, which means I expect for Inter Milan to, at one point in the game, to go out there and really attack. And it's very hard to do that, right? For FC Barcelona to like stop that attack, knowing that they send so many players up there and they go for the long balls. So we have to be very careful, right? We have seen what happened in the previous match between Barcelona and Inter Milan, which again ended 3-3. Inter Milan was a team that sat back, they defended well, and then when they had the ball, they went onto the counter and they went for the numerical advantage, right? They send a lot of players into the attack, and Barcelona do suffer. Hence the reason why we have conceded 3 goals. It's a lot of goals. Even Raphinha, even Hansi Flick, they all stated that it was a shame that we have allowed so many goals in the first leg. It should have never been like this. Hence the reason why I'm explaining that in this game, for sure, Inter Milan will try to capitalize off of that. Because they see that as a strength for them and as a weakness for FC Barcelona, and they're going to be saying, okay, we did this in the first leg, let's just do this 3x the times because we need to win. We have to go to the final. So it's insane. And if you ask me, Kevin, are you nervous? I would say I am a little nervous about this game. I am, but we know this FC Barcelona team. We have seen this Barcelona team come out of very difficult moments, right? It's not the first time where we have seen Barcelona, like if Barcelona do a remontada for some reason tomorrow night, it's not going to be the first time. We have already done it against Benfica, we have done it against Real Madrid, we have done it against multiple teams. This Barcelona team has heart as well, and I believe in this team. So let's do a recap, right? So let's talk about the match overview between these two teams, Inter Milan versus FC Barcelona. First things first, Milan, Barcelona, they're going to be playing at San Siro. It's going to be in Milan. It is the Champions League semifinal, second leg, 3-3 draw from the previous meetup. And Inter Milan are going to be aiming for their 4th UCL title, while Barcelona will be targeting their 6th, okay? So there's a lot to play for here. And thank God, bro, that Lamine Yamal posted something on social media. We were all waiting for Lamine Yamal to post, like, you know, that Goku moment that he likes to post on Instagram before a big match. We were all waiting for that because usually he likes doing that, but he finally did it. So, which means that he's going to come to this game with a lot of enthusiasm to play. So it's good, right? It's good. Now let's go to the first leg recap, okay? Let's go here and let's talk about what happened in the first leg, okay? First things first, Marcus Thuram scored the fastest ever semifinal goal, which was a span of 30 seconds, right? Like we give these teams like historical records like everywhere, all the time. These teams just love to score against us like in the first like 30 seconds to 1 minute. It's insane. I'm going to be talking about that in an upcoming video in the very near future on why we leak goals so early in matches, because this is like the 4th or 5th time we have allowed such goals in the first 30 seconds. It's like what's going on here, right? Atletico Madrid have done it, Inter Milan have done it, other teams are going to do it. So we will be talking about that in a separate video. Denzel Dumfries was also scored twice against us in the first leg. Surprising for a player who only scored 1 goal in the past 39 previous Champions League games. Of course, you're gonna right? Like a player like that is gonna score twice against us, right, in a Champions League match, even though he scored 1 goal in the past 39 Champions League games. I don't know why these things happen to Barcelona, but it is what it is. And Denzel Dumfries, I've always said I do highly rate the player. Very dangerous. He's one hell of a right wing back, and we have to take very well care of him. Unfortunately, right, I don't know if you guys have heard, but Alejandro Balde might not be there for the second leg. We talked about how there is going to be that chance that he could make it with Lewandowski, but if anything, it's the reverse. Lewandowski has a 99% chance of featuring in the squad list, but not Alejandro Balde, meaning that we're going to have to potentially go for Gerard Martin to be starting on the left back position. Now, if you guys have seen Gerard Martin in his previous game, he was really good. He provided an assist, right? The one that happened right here last Saturday. He did really good, but you know, it is a much different game going up against Inter Milan, and you know, Valladolid is not Inter Milan. Inter Milan is not Valladolid. And so even though I know that Gerard Martin did well, and I know that with a performance like that, you have to reward that and give him more minutes, it's a different outcome, right? It's a different approach going up against Inter. And if you were to tell me, do I trust Gerard Martin to go up against Dumfries? I don't know. It's very 50-50. I want to trust him, but at a time like this where every little detail matters, you cannot make small mistakes. Hence the reason why Dumfries is a player that we need to worry about and make sure that he's like tapped in correctly. Hence the reason why I would say, and we're going to be talking about this at the end of this video, I want Inigo Martinez on the left back position. I don't want to see Gerard Martin, and that's only because Alejandro Balde will not be there. So yeah, there goes Denzel Dumfries. With Lamine Yamal, he responded with a stunning goal. He was amazing in that match against Inter Milan, and Barcelona scored 3 times, and one of them was Lamine Yamal. And hopefully Lamine Yamal can score 1 to 2 goals in the second leg. Inter also blew a 2-goal lead, but were satisfied with a draw due to the second leg home advantage. I'm going to assume that Inter Milan came out that 3-3 draw, feeling like they can win against us at San Siro. So once again, we have to be very careful. Now let's move on towards the defensive and form records. Here I do have in my notes, right? This is going to be very important, starting with Inter Milan. Conceded only 5 goals and kept 8 clean sheets before the semifinals. They have been unbeaten in 15 home Champions League games with 12 wins, won 9 of the last 11 home UCL Champions League games. So Inter Milan, at their home, they're really good. So Barcelona have to respond. As for Barcelona, we have won 24 of the last 30 matches, only lost versus Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League quarterfinals second leg, have scored 40 goals in this Champions League season. Last 4 away semifinal matches in UCL have been all losses, unfortunately for us. Only 2 away wins in Champions League semifinals out of 13. And then we do have a poor record in Italy. Unfortunately, 5 wins in 24 Champions League games in the country. So like I said, there's a lot of odds stacked against us, but you can never not bet, you know what I'm saying, on this Hansi Flick super team. So now let's move on towards the player highlights, right? Going back to my notes, Lamine Yamal, obviously I have to call him out. 5 Champions League goals this season. Only Haaland, Mbappe, and Raul had more as a teenager. For Raphinha, 20 goals and assists so far in the Champions League this season. Only Cristiano Ronaldo had more with 21 goal contributions, which was back in the 2013-2014 season. For Lewandowski, like I've said, he's close to returning from injury. He might be on the bench, but has a higher chance compared to Alejandro Balde. Marco-Andre ter Stegen recently just returned against Real Valladolid. Is he going to be playing against Inter Milan? No, hell no. It's going to be Szczesny. Even Hansi Flick confirmed that Szczesny will be the guy to be starting against Inter. For Jules Koundé and Alejandro Balde, once again, we have no fullbacks whatsoever. They're still out injured. And then going back to Szczesny is expected to start in goal for FC Barcelona. So now in terms of team rotations and updates. As for Inter Milan, they rotated a lot in this past weekend against Verona, which was good for Inter Milan, right? They needed that type of rest, and Barcelona, they did the same thing. They rotated a lot of players. Unfortunately, we could not use our C squad or B squad through the 90 minutes because it was getting a little complicated against Real Valladolid, and so we had to bring in Raphinha and Olmo and Lamine Yamal, and we had to close out the match like that. But for Inter Milan, it was good, right? They rotated heavily. They're okay. Lautaro Martinez is in doubt. Unfortunately for Inter Milan, Lautaro Martinez does have a hamstring injury. As for Pavard, he's doubtful. But if we were to rank it, Lautaro Martinez has a higher chance of featuring in this game and not Pavard. And then as for FC Barcelona, they rotated, like I've said, heavily to prepare for the second leg. And the upcoming Clásico, obviously, that's going to be happening later this week on Saturday. But every player that we have placed for the match against Real Valladolid, right? The majority of those players that started are not going to be the starters for Inter Milan. We're going to be seeing Lamine Yamal back. Raphinha is going to be back. Pedri is going to be back. Frankie de Jong is going to be back. But unfortunately for the back line, it is not the healthiest. So we're going to have to really depend on Eric Garcia, Kubarsi, Inigo Martinez, and I would say We'll see. Like I said, we'll talk about this at the end of this video because I still have to write this out in terms of like my official starting 11. So now let's move on to what's at stake. Okay. So the winner will face Arsenal or PSG in the final. It's still tied. I would say still very 50-50 between Arsenal and PSG. That's like a whole other different conversation, but it's still very 50-50. I know that PSG have a better result and have better chances because they defeated Arsenal at their home, but it's still very 50-50. I don't know how Arsenal is going to respond. This is the exact same team that defeated Real Madrid. Okay, I know that Real Madrid is like one of the weakest teams in Europe right now, but still, Arsenal defeated Real Madrid in a quarterfinal match. So it's not, we cannot just say that PSG are going to easily slide through them like that. Barcelona is going to be chasing the treble. They have already won the Spanish Super Cup, the Copa del Rey. They lead in La Liga. They're going to want all four of anything. They want all four trophies and for sure, at the very least, get the treble, the Champions League, La Liga, and the Copa del Rey. We already have two locked down. Inter Milan were runners-up in 2023 and hope to return to the final for the first time since 2010. And I believe, yes, in 2010, Inter Milan did win the Champions League and they knocked us out. So this is going to lead us towards the historical reference, right? Bro, Inter Milan beat Barcelona back in the 2010 semifinals under Mourinho, and they went on to win the Champions League. And I would say that the team that Mourinho had back in 2010 is very much similar to the one that we see today, this Inter Milan team, in terms of the age, the profile, the amount of experience, very similar to that 2010 team. So we have to, once again, be very careful. Okay, we cannot be too relaxed. We have to be on point from the first minute up until the 90th minute, and we have to be very defensively secured in the first 20 minutes because these teams like Inter Milan, they will try and score early, and the moment they get that first goal against Barcelona, they're going to want to defend for their lives and form like a 8-1 formation or like a 9-2 or something like that, 9-1 formation. We don't need that. So that is why I keep continuing to reference, we have to be careful against against Inter Milan. We cannot relax. The defense cannot relax. The midfield cannot relax. The attack cannot relax. We have to score over and over again. If we're winning 1-0, we have to go for the 2-0. If we're winning 2-0, we want 3-0. If we have 3-0, we want 4-0. Never be satisfied at all. So leading to the last one, right? I'm gonna actually edit this in here because I actually forgot to edit, like put this in. I'm gonna just add this banner here. And we're gonna put it here. Now let's talk about the starting 11 and what I wanted to talk about, like truly. This is going to be my 11, and I believe that Szczesny will be in goal. Eric Garcia, right back position. I'm gonna say Araujo, Kubarsi, and Inigo Martinez at the back. The reason why we see Araujo here is because we have to be tapping in on Thuram. And Thuram is like a 6-foot monster, physical monster, somebody who can hold the ball. Araujo is the only one that can go on the 1v1 defensive physical duel against this striker here. And also because we don't have Jules Koundé, obviously, or Alejandro Balde, Araujo has... there's so many reasons why Araujo should be in this starting 11. And with Alejandro Balde out, it forces Inigo Martinez to come out of the center back position and to go into the left back position. Hence the reason why this is our best defensive line that we could place based on our availability. As for our midfield, Frankie and Pedri as always. And then for the attack, Lamine Yamal, right wing position, Dani Olmo as the number 10, and Raphinha on the left wing position, and Ferran Torres as the striker. I know everybody's going to be saying, what about Lewandowski? You're saying that Lewandowski has a higher chance of featuring in this game compared to Alejandro Balde. Doesn't that mean that he's starting? No, he's not going to be starting. He's going to be on the bench. Ideally, yes, I would like Lewandowski in this game because I've talked about multiple times in the first game, in the first leg, I saw what Barcelona were trying to do, and based off the profile that they had in the striker position, that was not going to work, which is to send crosses into the box in the air. That was never going to be won by Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres is not that type of player, and you're trying to do that against a team, a defensive lineup from Inter Milan where the average height is like 6 feet and higher. No, thank you. That's not going to work. That's literally not going to work. If you have Lewandowski there, then yes, you have the blessing to do that. Yeah, obviously, like send those crosses into the air. Lewandowski will win those crosses in the air, maybe headers, acrobatic kick, whatever. I don't know what Lewandowski does, but those acrobatic stuff, like he makes things up. Like he kicks with his heel. That's why he's one of the best number 9s in the world, if not the best number 9 in the world. But we're not going to have Lewandowski in this game. He's not going to be starting. And who knows, he may not even be ready. So Ferran Torres has to be the one. There's nobody else. It's not going to be Ansu. It's not going to be Pau Victor. It's just not going to happen. So we have to structure our attacking plan based off what type of profiles and what type of players we have in our attack. And we need a team that can beat our markers, right? We can like drag players out, defeat 1 versus 2 situations with Yamal and Raphinha, take these players out of position, open up spaces. Ferran Torres must be a player to move center backs away from certain spaces so Olmo can go through there and score goals. So, like, I know it's a lot easier said than done, but that's what's going to take, because it is going to be very compact, right? They play in a very congested way. 3-5-2 formation when attacking, and when they have to defend, it's like a 5-3-2. It's insane. But I think that we have to be also very technical with our touches, right? One touch movements and nothing more. Not stay too long with the ball, or else players like Bastoni or Bisek or Acerbi are going to be taking the ball away from us very quick. Di Marco, we also have to be very careful with him, right? He's very toe-to-toe with Lamine Yamal. And so Lamine Yamal is going to have to be on point going up against Di Marco. And I still don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, Mkhitaryan or something like that. Yeah, him. We also have to be very careful with him and Bastoni. Lamine Yamal has to be on his A game. So that is it, right? That is going to be our match preview for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.